What's up, guys? Today we are going to see the story How Arthur Became a King, written by Howard Pyle. How Arthur Became a King. Just outside London, in a village churchyard, stood a great block of marble, and on it was an iron anvil. Embedded in the anvil was a magnificent sword. Its blade was made of the finest steel, and its gold handle was decorated with precious jewels. On the marble block were these words of written in gold: "Whoever pulls forth this sword from the anvil is the king of all England." This was England of long ago, a land of brave knights and beautiful queens. But it was a troubled country as men fought for power. The sound of galloping horses, the clash of swords, and the cries of men in battle could be heard throughout the country. The people were tired of the fighting and killing. They wanted a strong king to rule again and bring peace to their beloved country, England. The previous ruler, the good King Arthur, had died years ago without leaving a successor to the throne. If we can't find the man who will be able to remove the sword from the anvil, the citizens would say to one another, "We shall have a king again." As years passed, many competitions began to be held near the sword. Tents were set up around a large field, and brightly colored flags fluttered in the breeze. The knights were dressed from head to toe in armor. They would fight among themselves as to who would try to pull the sword out. All of them failed. The sword remained on the anvil, and England remained without a king. To one such competition came Sir Hector, with his son Sir Kay, and the adopted son Arthur, a tall and handsome boy of 16. Sir Kay was bold and strong and was determined to win the competition. He fought hard and knocked many men to the ground with his spear and sword. But while fighting, he broke his sword, so he had to leave the field. He shouted to young Arthur, "Quick, brother, bring me a sword from a tent." Arthur ran to the family tent but could not find any sword. Knowing that his brother needed a sword right away, he looked around the field, and his eyes fell on the sword that was embedded in the anvil. Without thinking, Arthur jumped upon the block of marble, grabbed the sword by its handle, and pulled it out. Then he ran with it and gave it to his brother. As soon as Sir Kay held the sword, he felt its mighty power. It was so strong that it almost flew out of his hand. "Where did you get this sword?" Sir Kay asked. "It was stuck on the stone over there," said Arthur. "It did not seem to belong to anybody, so I took it. Why do you ask?" Sir Kay did not reply. He knew at once that this was the sword everyone was fighting for. He thought to himself, "Surely this is a sign that I am meant to be the king." He now walked about proudly, showing everyone the sword. When Sir Hector saw the sword, he gasped and asked, "How did you get it?" Sir Kay said, "I broke my own sword and found this sword." But no one had seen Sir Kay take the sword out of the anvil. The knights refused to believe him. A test was ordered. Sir Kay was told to put the sword back in the anvil and take it out in front of everyone. Sir Kay tried and tried, but failed to even put back the sword into the anvil. It just would not go in. At last, young Arthur asked, "May I try?" All the older men smiled at this young boy, but they said, "Sweet boy, let him try." Arthur took the sword from Sir Kay and plunged it into the anvil. It went so easily. Then he drew it out again and held it high in front of everyone. The knights and the villagers, watching from far, gasped with shock. Does this mean that this young boy will be a king? They began to ask among themselves. A tall man with a long white beard and long robes stepped out of the crowd. He was Merlin, the ageless. He spoke loudly and firmly. This is our dead king Arthur's son, brought up by Sir Hector. Now he has proved by taking the sword out from the anvil that he should rule over all England. A cheer went up, started rejoicing. Many knights bowed to their new king, but there were those who refused to accept this young boy as their king. It was not long before the argument caused two armies to be formed. Arthur led his royal knights into battle like a true king, and they easily defeated his enemies. King Arthur became famous for this victory. Many good men realized that by giving him their royalty, it was not long before the argument caused two armies to be formed. Arthur led his royal knights into battle like a true king, and they easily defeated his enemies. King Arthur became famous for this victory. Many good men realized that by giving him their loyalty, they could do good for their beloved country, England. And so they came from all parts of the country to King Arthur's castle at Camelot. At last, after all these years, England had found a good king. He gathered a group of knights who were noted for their courage and purity of behavior. They took an oath to be truthful, honest, fair, and to protect all those who needed help. They became known as the Knights of the Round Table. King Arthur was famous for another reason: a magic sword, better than the one he had worn. This magic sword was called Excalibur. But that, my dear students, is another story. Thank you. Bye, guys. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And press the bell icon to get notified whenever I post my videos. Bye. Share it with your friends. Share knowledge.